Hello, and welcome all to the Screenworks. My name is Joana Moll. I'm curator of digital programs at the Photographers Gallery in London. This is our fourth Screenwork, in fact. Thank you if you have come to any of the previous ones. If this is the first time, it is nice to have you, and we hope you will enjoy it. Screenworks is a collaborative project by Fotomuseum Winterthur in Switzerland and the Photographers Gallery. It's a series of live stream online wanderings with artists, performers, and researchers who take us to the places where their core artistic practice takes place. And the format of these events have been defined by the French newspaper Libération as halfway between an exhibition visit and an intimate confession. All the artists that we have invited are pushing forward the photographic notions and practices, an ongoing commitment of both institutions towards experimentation and development in topics related to post-photography and network image culture. In fact, we are happy to announce that the Screenworks will continue further than what initially was planned, and our next event will be led by the Dazzle Club on Wednesday, 3rd June. And we hope to be able to announce the following ones very soon as well. Going into the technical instructions for this event, the Screenwork will last around an hour. For those in Zoom, your microphone should be muted. So if not, please go ahead and mute them to avoid sound disturbances. And please send any questions you might have to Marco, to myself, or to the public chat, and we will pass them over to Joana. And this event is being recorded and will be archived, so please turn off your camera if you don't want to be recorded. Lastly, remember that if you have missed any of our previous Screenworks, you can watch them all on our website, including the marvelous touristic guide through virtual worlds that Rob Kearns did last time. You will find them all at thescreenworks.com.
And hello from me too. I'm Marco De Mutis. I'm digital curator at Fotomuseum Winterthur in Switzerland. Today, we're very excited to explore the world of online dating platforms. So these spaces have become increasingly popular sites of social exchange, where we look for intimate connections and where we voluntarily disclose intimate and personal details about ourselves. No matter if you're using Tinder, OkCupid, Grindr, Bumble, or any other dating app, the role of the image is always central here and at the core of the decision that users are prompted to take in order to find a potential partner. Yet today, we won't look at how to curate your best profile pictures in order to be most successful at online dating, but rather we'll take a tour of the hidden circulation of dated images and data. So we'll follow our profile pics as they leave the interfaces and are repackaged, sent, and reused, very often without our knowledge, and in that gray area about our consent or not. So if the portrait image is a currency on a representational level in the competitive marketplace of online dating, the image data, together with all the other data we so generously offer to these platforms, is itself a commodity which is sold, traded, and bought in huge amount and circulated globally among companies and individuals with different agendas and ethical standings. In other words, while the self-portraits compete for romantic attention on the surface of our screens, they also create valuable data sets that reveal a hidden economy based on our own intimate data and network images. So this opens up questions of the role of the image in relation to privacy, profiling and surveillance, but also labor and value extraction, all lying beneath the romantic intimacy that is where we usually stop when looking at these pictures. So tonight, to take us behind the Tinder selfie and the swipe rights and into the global marketplace of dating brokers, it's the one and only Joana Moll. Joana Moll is an artist and researcher based in Barcelona and Berlin. Her work critically explores the way post-capitalist narratives affect the alphabetization of machines, humans, and ecosystems. Her main research topics include internet materiality, surveillance, social profiling, and interfaces. She has lectured, performed, and exhibited her work in renowned museums, art centers, universities, festivals, and publications around the world. Furthermore, she's the co-founder of the Critical Interface Politics Research Group at Hangar in Barcelona, and the co-founder of the Institute for the Advancement of Popular Automatisms. Joana, thanks so much for accepting our invitation. The screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank John and Marco for the invitation. I mean, it's great. That's going to be some sort of experiment because I never did the screen walking in my life. So yeah, I tried to clean a bit my computer, sort of. So I was a bit ashamed. So, well, as Marco beautifully explained, we're gonna dive deep into the data brokering ecosystem. When it comes to online dating, I'm gonna present this project that's called the Dating Brokers, which was a project that it was commissioned by Tactical Tech Collective. It's an NGO based in Berlin that do a lot of work on digital rights. They advocate for digital rights at large, and they have great projects. If somebody doesn't know them, I really suggest you to look at their website and their projects. So, okay, let's get to it. So this project started when I could buy 1 million profiles for 136 euros. On the internet, just like that. It was very, very simple. And we're going to try to repeat this today to show how simple it is and how users are being just commodified in a really brutal way, yeah, without any respect whatsoever. And when you see these processes, you really understand. And so I'm going to just walk you through all the research behind the project that generally I don't show when I show the project and see what happens. I feel so bad that I couldn't put a background. I tried, but I can't do it. It just because I'm running Linux, I guess. I don't know. It's just quite frustrating. Anyway, let's get to it. So I'm gonna share the screen. Yeah, well, this is my desktop. This mess is all the files in my desktop, but I did like a very nice folder here just to show the project. Okay, so the first thing I did, I researched all this ecosystem of data brokering practices for many, many years, and really like the way it worked, like the data collection ecologies work for many, many, many years. Especially I've been focusing a lot on surveillance and also the environmental impact of data transfer and many other things. But when I did this project, or when I start to think about data, it's when
the internet.
Sorry, somebody's talking. No, okay. I heard something. I don't know. Anyway, so I felt
you can continue. No
yeah.
worries.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I felt I had to go to the dark side and buy some data because I've been researching this for so long. And it's like, okay, maybe, I should just try to get some data and see how things work from the other side, right? So the first thing I did, I went to Axiom. Axiom is the biggest data broker in the world. Yeah, as in data broker, it means like companies, it's not an individual. It's companies that basically trade in data. Yeah, and that's basically main source of their revenues. So these companies have a lot of data on many, many different, and even many, it's like millions and millions of citizens all over the world. Yeah, they have like this system that they aggregate data from various different sources and they put it into a databases, and then they just process this data, create segments, and then they just sell this data to people that might want this data. So, okay, if let's say I'm a flower shop, yeah, I'm the owner of a flower shop, and Mother's Day is approaching, and I wanna just get people to buy flowers to my shop. So I'm just going to Axiom to get some data. So I go to what do we do, and I just go to the data packages, yeah, just have like a hint of stuff that they can deliver for me. And yeah, my internet's a little bit slow. And we just scroll down and we see all these different packages of data. No? So we have Valentine's Day data, St. Patrick's, Game Day data package, tax time, Mother's Day data package is exactly for me, but we have others, summer fun package, Halloween data package, back to school data package, Father's Day data package. And several more. And this is really just the micro tip of the iceberg. Yeah. I really encourage you to visit the site and just wander around. It's quite fun. So I'm going to Mother's Day. And then I got this PDF. And so don't miss the mother of all marketing opportunities. That's a quite a funny joke. I don't know. I mean, these copywriters, really. Yeah. So here you have like the first thing you find, like this Mother's Day spending breakdown. So these people know that there is like 3 major markets, yeah, for Mother's Day. So 5 to the billion are being spent on jewelry, 4.6 billion on special outing, dinners, brunch, lunches, wherever, and 2.6 billion dollars on flowers. So that's really the niche I want to attack, yeah, because I just want to sell a lot of flowers to the people that buy flowers. So part of this 2.6 billion will just come to my shop. That's why I'm just going to Axiom. And then I just scroll a little bit down, and then there are the segments. So each one of these groups is your client most interested in, yeah? So we have the generous gentleman, the department store dad, the getaway guy, and the car connoisseur. Oh, I can pronounce this. Yeah, so it's really, you have like just these segments of people that have several attributes that they Axiom found out aggregating data, and they fall into one of these segments. Yeah. And that's it. So I try to say, okay, so I'm gonna get data from them, but the whole services were just too expensive, and I felt that I didn't want to go too sophisticated, not just yet. Yeah, first I wanted to try all things. My camera is horribly placed here in the down part of the computer, and I guess you can see my fingers that are huge, right? If you can see me at all. No? All right. So the second thing I did, I went to Google. Yeah. And I made a wonderful mistake because I just put, okay, buy dating. Yeah, instead of data, somehow I put dating. Yeah, I found out this while preparing this talk because I don't remember how this happened. And then I realized it was that way. And then Google just suggested, okay, buy dating profiles. I wanted to buy data, but they suggested buy dating profiles. I said, okay, wonderful, why not? So I went to this, and to my surprise, I found like a lot of different companies that they were offering those services. Yeah, and I was really in shock because I really thought that getting data, well, I'm here. That's funny. I'm on the list now. The project is on the list. So I felt, how can this be so easy? I can't believe this. So I thought that this would totally be scam. And even if I would use one of these services, I would never get profiles. So I decided to go for this. This is a usday.org. I purchased these million profiles from here. So as you can see, you have 100% money back guarantee. Well, and those are the profiles that they offer you. Yeah, well, you can see, right? But it's like specifically online dating profiles. So you can just go here and check the samples. I bought worldwide samples, but let's just do United Kingdom samples since, you know, it's photographer's gallery. It's based in London. So that's what you get basically. So you get 5 profile pictures from each user. Oops, that's strange. Well, this is somebody else, I don't know. But you get the name, the username, the email, gender, sick gender, sexual orientation, birth date, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, like there is like a lot of very descriptive information about this particular user. Yeah. So here, username, and so on. Yeah. So I said, okay, this looks, well, interesting enough. So, I'm gonna go and buy some of them, right? So let's just go to the United Kingdom dating profiles. So here we have. So we have for sale 100,000 gold. It means that they are paying members from dating sites from the United Kingdom, male. And you have a total, I know, profile counts 200. It's so hard for me to pronounce numbers in English. More than 200,000, yeah, and more than 700,000 pictures, almost 800,000 for $87. Then you have 156,000 for $70. Those are female. Yeah. And then you have a combination of male and female, almost more than 400,000 for $133. So you can see that the prices are absolutely random. Yeah. And here I say that contact us will create a dating profile package at your request. And we have more than 2 million dating profiles from the UK. So I know, I mean, we can try to buy one, some of them, so you can see how easy it is. I just want to find a really, really small package because otherwise it will just take too long. So here you have like worldwide dating profiles. Here I say Latin America female profile, 6,000. Okay, maybe Philippine male profiles. It's 3,000. I think because I'm just concerned that they're not going to be ready by the end of the talk. So if it's not a lot, then it might be possible. So we'll see. So let's get this 3,000 Philippine male profiles for $35. Let's add it to the cart. Yeah, apply profiles to, I don't need this, dating script, 35, apply coupon, proceed to checkout. Okay. So I'm gonna send it to I don't know, password. Okay. Now, well, I guess I will just proceed to PayPal. That's the only method that they allow you to do it. And now I'm gonna stop sharing. So I can do this in the intimacy of my computer and myself.
Yeah, I don't know if you are aware, Joanna, but your camera is off. So
really?
we cannot see you. I mean, the screen sharing is working fine, but it's just, yeah, okay. It is working now. Yeah,
I wasn't aware of it. Okay.
It's
okay. No, you're welcome.
We can try to get your password by looking at the reflection in your eyes. So
oh, great.
that's why we ask you to turn on the camera now.
Very clever. Okay, we'll see. I hope this is going to work because...
How long does this process take?
Nothing. I mean, depends. I mean, to download 1 million profiles, it took me a few hours because they have a very strange method of doing it. You know, like they have very poor servers, you can tell, and they just send you a link with maybe 5,000. And then they send you another link with another 5,000, and you have like all these links until you get to 1 million. Yeah, so just to take care of this, it took like a massive amount of time. But eventually they came to me. So I was happy about that. And now I'm gonna just check if they sent me an email. They should. Yeah, okay, yes, they contact me. Okay, now I'm going to share the screen again. Yeah, so, yeah, well, this is like the welcome, dating business. Yeah, so here it's like my receipt. Okay, and that's it. So we'll see what will happen. Maybe I can just download it from the website itself. Let's go. I mean, even if it looks like scam, they're quite efficient, let's say. I mean, I was like, this was really one of my biggest concerns. Okay, yeah, Bill. Order link generated? No. So I guess we'll just need to wait. So I'm just gonna keep on going and see what they will find out. So, okay, after doing what I did now, exactly this, this is the first time I show it live. I never put profiles real time, like showing it to other people. So I just wonder, how is it so easy to buy these? And what is it behind the online dating industry that make these processes quite popular? Because I found out that actually changing profiles between between different companies or different online dating sites, it's quite established practice. Yeah, so companies now need like a constant flow of new profiles in order to increase matchmaking probabilities among the other people that already joined the sites, and also to generate more traffic and to have more paying subscribers. Yeah, this is basically what they make the most money of. So I started to research, and there is like all these websites like this one, and I think I need to stop sharing and share again. Can you see me while I'm talking, even though I'm sharing the screen? I have this doubt.
Yeah, we can see you on a small
Okay.
box on the top.
Okay, great. All right, so I was just gonna play this video that explains what these companies do. These companies, they just act as content management systems for online dating sites. Yeah, but also not just this. So these companies, they pre-populate your dating site. So you buy like this package of whatever, you install like this WordPress of that now it's going to turn into a fancy online dating site. And these companies bring you, I don't know, from 20 to 60,000 users. Yeah, and where are these users coming from, right? So it's just because they're real users, even though like some information is made out, but the pictures are still real. So they have like these common databases, and they give you all these profiles, but in return, they're gonna take all the new users that are gonna join your new website. They're gonna use them and they're gonna keep them on their databases to keep on exchanging it with other customers. Yeah, so you sign up in one of these websites that I use is, in this case, is white label dating, which I find particularly funny. And your profile can go to any other website that has been using or is using this specific technology, right? So you really don't know where your data is going at all. Yeah? I think this video is quite self-explanatory.
Online dating is a billion-dollar industry, not to mention extremely profitable for those with the skills to attract paying subscribers to their dating sites. White Label Dating offers an award-winning, all-inclusive white label solution. All you need to do is provide the brand and take your dating site to market. We take care of absolutely everything else, from the pre-populated member database with over 59 million registrations through to cutting-edge dating technology, landing page creation tools, free hosting, and SSL, and more. Our industry-leading account managers are on hand to offer strategic support to help you grow your dating revenues and profits. We operate a transparent revenue sharing model, meaning we only make money when you do. We offer our partners up to 100% net revenue share for 12 months, then up to 80% for life. Sites on our award-winning platform have generated over $390 million since 2003. Why not create your own? Start making money today wherever you are. Generate industry-leading profits with white label dating. Sign up for free today.
Well, so anybody wants to make a lot of money out of users? Because also these videos, what they explain, right? Yeah, I mean, you can make a lot of money. I mean, that's for sure, it's not real. But also, you know, like it says, like it just talks about everything around the business, but not the users, which are basically like the main source to generate income for these companies, right? And they're just completely on the side, and they are absolutely exploited. And then I tended to think like, oh yeah, but this may be just like a bunch of, you know, scam companies. And maybe that's not how the dating industry actually works, right? It's just like the real one. But I was wrong. They do exactly the same. Yeah. They just have more fancy interfaces. That's it. So in terms of like this white label thingy, like content management system for dating sites, so there is also this dating factory, great name too. Yeah, powerful dating technology and expertise dedicated to converting traffic and increasing revenue. Again, out of users, yeah, one platform, infinite possibilities. And then if you go at the end of you always have to scroll to the end to see like really the juicy information, which means white label means economy of scale. So one of the biggest challenges when creating an online dating business is populating the database, which is where the white label approach is especially valuable. Like our partners can start dating sites that are ready immediately. Even the very first customer finds an exciting environment full of like-minded people who are ready to date. Yeah. So each white label owner makes money from the people who join the platform from their sites, and then those people can interact with the rest of the database. This means that every single user has the potential to generate profit from day one. Yeah, and they put it like in this very nice language, but this means like, okay, we're gonna just use a bunch of users to populate your site, and yeah, well, we're ready to exploit all these profiles, and then we're just gonna take care of the profiles that you generate to keep on generating profits. But those users are not gonna see a dime, right? And that's like really, it's in everywhere. This is sort of scammy, this website. They do exactly the same. Our portfolio part, it's quite funny. So they have like also these clusters, right, of different profiles they can offer to you, yeah, together with your online dating site. They don't sell profiles separately as US Data or others. So animal lovers, boats and sailors, business executives, yeah, and you name it. There is gardeners, military men and women. Let's go for this. So, discover love, romance, and friendship on your mobile or desktop. Yeah, US military singles.com. Right? So, be singles now. You have to sign up to do this. So, dating singles in the US military is easy. On usmilitarysingles.com, we are mobile friendly. Anyway, you see the. So anyway, I mean, if anybody that really signed up to this website, they can see their profiles in the hikers and climbers as well, or in the seniors 55 plus, or police and firefighters, why not? Or even in the wealthy introductions, like wealthy people, right? And that's a reality. I mean, that's what's happening. So Okay, like the second thing after I purchased a profile, the second thing that came to my mind, it was where are these profiles coming from, right? Because this is something like they have to come from somewhere, because they were really like dating profiles. And so the first thing I did, I contacted US Data and I asked them, and they said that this was an industrial secret. They couldn't tell me. It's like, well, all right. So then I tried to find out for myself, by myself. And I just immediately ran like an Exif data software analysis to the pictures I had. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make like a test. So
maybe it's worth just saying a little bit for people who don't know what an Exif data is.
Okay, so Exif Data, it's just a program that basically gives you information on the metadata of the pictures. Yeah, so it will tell you like the file size, for example, file type, image width. A lot of times, like a lot of the parameters are being erased beforehand, but if you can access still some, it's worth it. So sometimes you'd have the geolocation, the camera that you took this picture with. So it really gives you like all this technical and meta information on any image. You know? And it's very useful to have, like for me, it was extremely useful in this case. Because I just put one of the images I have in my data set and suddenly disappeared. Yeah, like software, POF. Because the rest didn't really give me any clue of the source of these images. But POF, it was weird. Yeah, and then I also tried other images that weren't from my data set in order to understand if a POF was just a general thing or was a specific thing. And indeed, it was a specific thing. And then I started to think, well, I didn't think much, I have to admit. I just went to Google, of course. So I just put POF here, you know, to see. And the first hint, it was Plenty of Fish. All right, this is a website and it's a dating site. Yeah. So here is it. That's the website. That's how it looks like. And then I said, okay, this is a good hint, but I cannot, you know, say like it's like a super 100% strong evidence that those profiles came from there. Yeah, because I don't know, maybe this profile was somewhere else. Maybe somebody put this POF in the metadata. So what I did, I started to compare profiles. I have this evidence POF. So I think here you can see it. So I started to compare profiles that I had. You can look for users in Plenty of Fish without having an account whatsoever. So I started to look for usernames in order to see if they match the file I had with all the information of these profiles. And indeed, they matched quite a lot. So in this case, I'm not sure if you can see it because this is a little bit small, but yeah, so see, like I had, this was my file, and I'm going to show you the CSV file that I got. Bobby 28. You have the email, female, blah, blah, blah. And here I have the description looking for my man. My name is Bobby and my life revolves around my kids. Yeah, and etc., etc., etc. So here I could see like, okay, looking for my military man. My name is Bobby and my life revolves around my kids. Yeah. So this was like a pretty good hint. So I kept on comparing other users that I had on my database with a Plenty of Fish, and I had the same thing here. Yeah, this girl was have to Jessica 106, and here I had Jessica 106 with exactly the same information. Yeah. So this was like very, very strong evidence that at least a huge part of the profiles came from Plenty of Fish. And the last thing I did in order to provide evidence that this was happening, I just wrote to US Date again. I said, yeah, I really want profiles from Plenty of Fish. Do you have some? And said, oh yeah, we have millions, right? So anything you want. So it was a little bit stupid because I answered that way, right? Let's see, by the way, if we got any news on the profiles we bought. Sometimes you just need to remind them. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna just ask them.
In the meantime, do you mind if I pass you a couple of questions from the chat?
Yeah, totally.
So Joana is asking if these databases or services are all in the US, are all US based. And if this does happen in Europe as well, in terms of like how GDPR has changed the rules or not.
Okay, that's a great question. Just a sec. So, okay, the companies, and now we're gonna go further into it. I'm gonna explain this in the coming steps. But the companies that own all these profiles, they are, yes, American based, but they just don't operate in the US. They also operate in Europe, in Asia, and in other, I'm not sure, yeah, Asia and Japan for sure. I'm not sure if India, in Europe, all over Europe, and also Latin America. Yeah. So in terms of GDPR, well, that's quite tricky. And I'm not a privacy expert, but it's very tricky. When operating in Europe, they have to follow European laws. But any single profile that's been created in one of these sites, there is at least one copy, if not thousands, that are stored within the US servers. Yeah, so the servers that stores information there in the US. And then I think there is like a big gray area there. Yeah, whether they have to comply with GDPR. I mean, if the data was created in Europe, but it has been translated into a American server, which is in American soil, I think there is a huge gray area. But again, I'm not a privacy expert. Yeah, I mean a legal expert. But it's very tricky. Okay, now they're just saying that within 48 hours. Oh, it's too bad. Well, I mean, maybe we'll share it somehow. That's too bad. Anyway, you saw the process. I mean, that was the interesting thing. So I'm just gonna continue because you're gonna just understand, like this question is gonna get answered. So, okay, now that I knew where these profiles came from, I started to think about Plenty of Fish. So Plenty of Fish was originally a Canadian dating site, but then was bought by Match Group, which is the biggest online dating industry in the world. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about them just in a sec. But Plenty of Fish, it's after Tinder. Back in 2018, it was the second most used platform in the US. And this is not little. They claim that they have 55,000 signups every day, like new signups, and that they own information on, I don't know, a crazy amount of people. I think more than 250 million people. Yeah, so this is a huge company. Yeah, so it wasn't just peanuts and another scam website as probably the ones that we just visited before. So then I checked Match Group, which is this one. Yeah. And then for my surprise, they also own huge brands like Tinder, like OkCupid, Match, Hinge, and many other websites. Yeah, and besides from these websites that they seem okay, like the serious one, which like OkCupid, like it's very huge also in Europe. Like Mythic is more used in Europe at large. It's like Mythic French or Belgium. Yeah, it's Mythic Belgium. Tinder, but also have these very weird small dating sites like black baby boomer meet single black baby boomers, single little people, Republican singles, single black Christians. So like really like big websites and really small websites, divorced singles. Yeah. So altogether, I could match more, I think I could find more than 130 different online dating sites that were part of the Match Group corporation. Yeah. And this, it's really something. And then you start to look at the privacy policy. And the privacy policy states that every user or any user information that has been shared with one platform, it can be shared with all the Match Group platforms. Yeah, so you have like from one single profile that you created, your profile may or not be in other different online dating sites that are part of the Match Group. Yeah, and this is just a mapping of the sites that I did in 2018. This might be even much bigger now. Yeah, and this is something to take into account because you don't think about this when you do when you set like a user in Tinder or in Match or in OkCupid and all this, like your profile can end up in places like this, for example. Yeah, it's not for sure, but you open the possibility, like by seeing the privacy policy, you just give them a free card to do whatever you want with this. The thing is, like, this wasn't just like really like the micro top of the iceberg, because Match Group is just a subsidiary of Interactive Corp. Yeah, so Interactive Corp, it's a massive American internet company, and they have brands like, Home Advisor. Well, this is like a huge network for contractors, like people that do constructs, like come and renovate your houses. They have a lot of real estate networks. Also, they have the Daily Beast. They have Investopedia, which is quite a huge website. It's one of top references for investment websites. They have also Daily Burn. I guess a lot of people knows it. You know, it's like those apps that help you lose weight, yeah, by using gamification strategies and the likes. They also have Vimeo, yeah. And also in the privacy policy of Interactive Corp, they also say that any website, any user information that has been created in one of the brands, sub-products, whatever, of Interactive Corp, this includes Match, the information can be shared all over as well. Yeah, so I could map around, I think, 240 different brands that were part of Interactive Corp. So we already have about 400 different companies that can potentially exploit a single profile, yeah, created in any of these websites. And I just checked desktop activity. I didn't check mobile phone activity, which I think that this might triple even. Yeah. So again, but this wasn't the end of it, sadly, because after this, what I did is just to check, okay, like the third party companies. I mean, means companies that they're not Match, they're not Interactive Corp, and they're not part of any of the other sub-services that access data from, I'm going to reset this, from users that were using those services. Yeah, so this is the so-called cookies. Yeah, so you go into a website and for example, I'm going to check, let's check, I don't know, any of these websites, like Mythic, for example. I'm gonna disable the protection. Gonna charge it again, and then I'm gonna go to here. Okay, so you see, like, this is Mythic. I just visit Mythic, and there is like all these three-party companies that they are connecting to my browser right now while I'm operating in the Mythic website, and they're sucking data. Yeah, we don't know exactly what they're sucking, but they're citing data. I mean, here you have Google Analytics, of course, because it's everywhere. I know that they're taking the location, they're taking the type of browser I'm using right now, the type of computer, the length, the amount of time that I'm spending in the site, and many other things like screen resolution and so on. Yeah, I don't know what geolocation one trust. I think it's quite obvious what they're taking. Yeah, CDN cookie law, I don't know. We should check it out. But this Ilius.net, who knows, right? And yeah, I know Akamai. It's a huge internet company also based in the US. So I also run like scripts to understand all these third parties that were connected to all the websites that I visited. So we're talking about these 400 different websites. And I came up with 300 third parties that connected to these sites. So altogether, we had like 700 different brands, services, whatever, that potentially could exploit a single profile. And that's really something. I mean, it's massive. Yeah. And that's how this project came to life. Well, I'm going to show you before what I got.
Joanna, there are a few questions in relation to data sets that might be interesting also maybe to
sure.
To have. For instance, Alan is asking if it doesn't feel weird to have all these data sets sitting on your laptop
Totally.
for your projects.
No, absolutely. And I think that it's funny because my computer cracked the hard disk where I had all this data, and I lost everything. So I don't have anything in this computer, and I'm actually a little bit happy about this because it felt I was uncomfortable. No, and then I waited. Also, it's like, okay, what should I do? Not do this project, doing this project, but I think it's really worth exposing all these networks of exploitation. Because I think it's very necessary to understand it. Yeah, I know it's like a big burden, and when you see all these, as you say, oh God, and now what? What am I going to do, right? It's very overwhelming, but I feel it's critical to disclose those things in order to take future actions to reclaim our rights. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, totally, it was so uncomfortable. Like, this is the CSV file that I got from one of the purchases I did. So yeah, I mean, it's all the information I had on people. This CSV file is more than 83 megabytes, which is quite large for CSV file, but it contains this, I think, information on 50,000 users. Yeah. Yeah, it's not nice to have this in your computer. I agree. Actually, I'm just gonna delete it after the talk again, because this I recovered by a little bit by chance. Is there any other question?
Yeah, and I was asking if you, I mean, that she seems to be working, exploring also data sets and working on the biases within them. She was asking if you will be open to share the data sets that you have bought, but as you just said, you lost it, I guess, so that's the first thing.
And also, a lot of people ask me this after this, and I didn't want to get it. I didn't want to give it to anybody because, oh, there's no picture here now. I don't know what's happening. Because I don't think, I mean, I'm feeling uncomfortable enough having these profiles, as I already said, and I don't want to further exploit these profiles also by giving it out to other people. Yeah, I mean, I'm full of contradictions, and I know it, and it's tricky. It's something that I've given it a lot of thought, but yeah, it's hard to be ethical, like 100% ethical and morally clean when it comes to this, right? And it's hard, but when you research those things, you're also complicit in those things in a way, right? And for me, it is hard to overcome. It's hard.
Mm-hmm. And there's another question also asking if from Paul, asking if you had any comment from any of the dating apps, if any of them have been are aware of your work and your research.
Yeah. Match group, they weren't happy. they weren't happy at all. That's why I also brought this project to Tactical Tech, because I knew that it would have like the legal force to fight some claims, some legal claims. And indeed, Match Group contacted us because this project was, I mean, it had quite a lot of exposure. And yeah, they said that we had to change things here, things there, the things weren't right, and they were just threatening with suing us, but they didn't have anything on the project really, because everything we said, it was true, and that's it. And actually I asked them a critical question, which was like, okay, people, this usdate.org, you're not associated with them, but these people have your data, right? It means that there has been a massive data breach here that you should respond to. And then they just cut the communication. They didn't answer anything, and we left it at this. But yeah, Match was angry, indeed. I don't know here, I mean, I'm showing now the project, but somehow every time I show the project, there is no pictures in the background. And every time I do it at home, the intimacy of, like loneliness, there is pictures all the time. I don't know. Maybe it's a Zoom thing. I don't know. It's really frustrating. Let's wait 19, 18, 17. Any other question meanwhile?
There was a question about, I think maybe that's something that you talked about, but maybe it's also good reiterating and clarifying for some people who didn't maybe understand the purpose of this profile. So somebody was at NetGP999 was asking, what do they do with your profile?
What would they do with which profile?
Like, I'm just reading the question, but I'm assuming it's about the use of this profile in our phones. Maybe you can give further examples of how people who buy these packages reuse all of these data in these profiles.
Okay, what they will use for, so they can use them to, okay, that's it. Yeah, for a variety of things. I mean, some people probably will use it to pre-populate their sites. And I don't know, I mean, there's people having very weird ideas out there. I can imagine all sort of very dystopic ways of using all these images, but I think it's probably for dating sites, because it's not so easy to find them otherwise either. Yeah. So that's my guess, but it could be multiple things. So this is like when you buy the auction that it's not working, and I don't understand why. Well, I mean, you have like all these, we just put all these pictures, like this was like the real data set we got with all the values or like information that it provided. We just erased anything that could identify the user. We didn't put the usernames. And also we had 5 million pictures, so we automatized the process of blurring the images. And we did these points, when we had these points in the eyes, not just as an aesthetic research, but it was in order not to allow other machines to reverse the blurring and identify the images. But we are still working on it, because there are some images that somehow they didn't, they weren't identified as images. Yeah. So yeah, that's the project. And for me, like, it was very important to really like insist on, or to visualize in the project, like to insist like all this massive amount of data that is being shared in a very unrespectful way. Yeah, and massively, and doesn't matter, just data for the sake of data. Yeah, and that all these users, including us, we are so unprotected, and we are so unaware of what's happening with our data at large. Yeah, not just that it's being monetized, but all sort of things can happen to it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really like at all to have my face in one of these dating sites that I never signed up to. Yeah, and this happens to a lot of people. And well, that's the world we're living in. And yeah, I hope I would have a positive message, but I really don't. And for the first time, I did some sort of investigative journalism report, like more journalistic report of all the steps involved in the research of the project. So yeah, you have like these different blogs that explain different parts of the stories, a little bit like I explained, but here you have like much more detailed information. You can click on the pink links and you will have like a lot of information on everything that I just explained, like with names and surnames and everything. Oops. Yeah, so you have like all the links to everything we found. I don't know what is happening. So here in the boxes, and I mean, I will just show you like the last part. Yeah, I have all the companies. So here I have like the 700, more than 700 interconnected. Look. Yeah, here. So all the list of companies that can potentially exploit just a single profile of any of the profiles that I bought, or anybody that would sign up to one of these websites. Yeah, and this wasn't updated. This was research from 2019. So we published this in November, so it's 1.5 years ago around. So this might have also changed, but the dynamics remained sort of the same. So yeah, I think that I can leave it here. And if anybody has any question, I will be happy to keep on answering them.
Yeah, there's another question by Tisa. She asked if do these data sets also include inferences made up upon the users, like the data generated from a given data? I don't really understand.
I don't understand the question.
And yeah, I cannot understand the question either.
So if they can inference, if they can make inference upon users like data generated from given data. So I guess if they can combine data to create new data about the profile, maybe?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they do this. And I'm pretty sure that they combine and recombine. But my biggest concern here is like the pictures, they're real and they're from real people. Yeah. And even if, you know, like I've checked at the beginning of this research, I didn't explain that, but I checked like, I started to look for images, like I did reverse engineering on images in Google Images. So I took one picture from one of these dating sites, and a lot of times I would find like this picture in several other dating sites, but with different usernames and different descriptions, different ages and so on. But the picture was still the same, and this picture is from somebody. So yeah, even if they make up profiles, there's still some information that remains real, right?
Yeah, and I think what's also very interesting, because we've seen lots of scraping, right? Images that are being gathered, like recently with this revelation about companies like Clearview AI and these tools that aggregates profiles, pictures, and images of faces from everywhere. But in this case, it seems not only like legal, but also incredibly simple and cheap. It's even to another level. It's not even scraping, right? It's just yeah, kind of getting a file downloaded.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch of files, of course.
Yeah, pretty much a bunch. Yeah, no, indeed. Just like, I mean, data is, I don't know if cheap or if it's expensive, but there's just a lot, and you can get a lot. And yeah. Data economy is very twisted. Indeed. Any other questions?
Well, we have some people who just are feeling creepy, and I'm feeling this, that some people are getting more aware and are thanking you for making them think twice about sharing their data. Joana, fine print. Angel is happy to know that somewhere out there his dating profile is more successful than himself. That's good to also have a silver lining there, I guess. Let me see. I guess it's more comments, but they're also interesting to pick up the conversation maybe from here. So data usage affects our lives more than we think and want.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think that I think we can see, and yeah, I don't know, but it's gonna keep on affecting our lives more and more deeply in many ways. I mean, when there's this thing about credit score, right? Like any data that we generate anywhere, it's being aggregated to huge databases owned by single data brokers. And for example, with the thing with credit score, like we can find ourselves, but doing whatever what, yeah, we cannot just get a credit because an algorithm says that we are just not fit for it, because maybe you just dated somebody that was 10 years older than you. I don't know. Who knows, right? Well, there is this story, I guess a lot of you already are familiar with I can't remember his name now, but he's the head of the forensic architecture department.
Ariel Weissman?
Yes. And that he wasn't allowed to go into the US, right? Like very recently, when he used to go, like very usually, I think he even said that he was there like 2 or 4 months before he wasn't allowed inside, right? And an algorithm said no, and he couldn't fight it, and he couldn't go in that precise moment. And I have a lot of friends that their visa, ESTA visa, has been denied for several incomprehensible reasons, yeah, that you cannot fight against. And then you need to go into the bureaucratic system that will allow you to fight these claims that, you know, it's with an algorithm that you cannot even, not even bureaucrats can talk to the algorithm. Yeah? And even a lot of times the developers that developed, or the group of developers that developed this, they don't know why this output is this and not another one. Yeah, and it is very dangerous, indeed.
There's also other examples that are brought up from Santiago in the chat, talking about how these images and data can be used for politics in the case of Brexit, of how, you know, like profiles were used. And also someone pointing out, Angel is pointing out to the fact that now you also have all this generative adversarial network generating images and data from machine learning. And that's also an interesting thing to think of, whether, you know, like there's a change, and how does that stand ethically as well, right? Like, we're not stealing the private profiles of other people, we're generating them based on a data set of these real people. You know, these intricacies, I think also at the level of the image, are quite interesting to think about a little bit. And I don't know, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's just funny. It's just like adding layers of reality over reality and redoing reality. And I think an image here has a strong effect, right? It's like you have like a real profile, but then you turn it into a semi-real profile, but then you turn this image for an algorithm to generate another profile, and then another algorithm will generate another profile. And at the end, you know, that it's like a huge artichoke, right? Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like crazy how economy can be driven by things that are not real. But then again, language and money are not tangible things either, right? So maybe images are just in the same realm. Who knows?
Alan is asking also if this research has changed how you use the internet, like, aside from your work, and if it has, how does it change after like doing the project?
Well, I think it's like, luckily, I never had a real user in the dating site. So in that sense, I wasn't affected. I mean, I started to create fake profiles as crazy when I started to research this. Oh, and I would like to share something that I forgot to share. If it's funny, just to finish with a funny thing at least. Just a sec, and I'm gonna answer the question now. So there is like this options. We check all. So you have like dating profile generator. That was very, very useful for me. Yeah. So what kind of profile would you like to create? Cheesy, lazy, earnest, poetic. Okay, I'm gonna do one. Okay, poetic. Who are you? A man? Okay, who are seeking men? Why not? No, gender fluid. I like gender fluid. So you're currently in a relationship? Multiple, yes, why not? And then I really love the suggestions here. So it's like 2 adjectives you might use to describe your physical characteristics. Suggest, red, moist. Why not? 3 adjectives you might use to describe your personality. Modest, intuitive, popular, patient, considerate, witty, brave, yes. And then which 2 parts of your body are you most happy with? Hands and toes. 2 hobbies, socializing and football, golf, reading, boxing, writing, hiking, knitting, baking, reading, golf. What is your job? Private detective. Why does your job help blind people? That's I think that'd be interesting. What skills do you have? I fix cars. Surfing, sniffles, why not? What's your favorite place? Dubai, Cornwall. Yep. How important is monogamy to you? Varies somewhat. Which do you prefer? Star Wars? Yeah, why not? Star Wars. Star Wars, yes. Okay, 2 adjectives you will use: curvy, wide. Anyway, so it's just about this, right? And which is favorite part of mate's body? The moles. I don't know what the moles are, so the fingers. Use an adjective to describe your ideal example of that body part. Ugly. This is kinky. This is getting a bit kinky. Something your ideal partner is not afraid to do. Meet my parents. Be open and honest. Be themselves. Cry. Be open and honest. Cry. Laugh. Dance. Speak their mind. Something you think people should respect. Personal freedom. Friendship. Perfection. Monogamy. Danger. And finally, who's the most famous celebrity you've ever met? Johnny Depp, Steve Merchant, Adam Sandler, Donald Trump. Yeah, we'll leave it with this. And finally, what's your screen name? Okay. Mark. And it writes me a dating profile. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, this is the description. And it just, you know, my life goals include star in the next Star Wars films, write a sonnet that captures your beauty, became the first private detective I can be, help all the blind people in the world. And it's really fun to play with this. I had a lot of fun while I was doing it. So all my profiles come from these sort of dating profile generators. And to answer the question okay, I'm happy I could finish with something less intense, because, you know, it's very hard to be funny when I explain this project. It's just incredibly hard. So yeah, I mean, I just navigate. No, I mean, I'm very aware of the flaws of the internet and data privacy and how naked are the users in front of all these big corporations. But again, I also assume that it's very hard to protect yourself individually from those things without isolating yourself and not taking part in basically social events, or even for your own financial needs, right? If you isolate yourselves and if you don't participate and use certain products, certain software, you are really out of the game. And that's a problem. And I think that any solution should come in a collective way, and the responsibility shouldn't be bared solely by the user at all. This is a systemic problem, and it has to be solved at a systemic level. And this is very important to understand. Yeah.
So yeah, and Jeff is also talking about the importance about this, especially during and after COVID, right? Like, how do you think that tracking and surveillance is going to be changed, affected, and tackled in a view of what's happening right now and like what effect this has on all of these issues that we talked about.
Well, I think that pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, IT companies, they're just so happy that in front of the fact that they might potentially have like a lot of information on the health condition of millions of users, because that's going to generate like massive revenues for all these companies. Also because they're going to generate a lot of sub-products derived from all this new state, right? Because what is happening now, like devices, and this I've been explaining it a lot in recent talks, I guess, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, somebody else has seen some, but like since a panopticon, like all these, the object that executes surveillance has become smaller and closer to our bodies, right? Now we have like a mobile phone that is constantly in our pockets, right? So basically we are being surveilled and controlled all day long. And if this wasn't bad enough, but it's something that we just accepted as a standard social practice. Now, after COVID, what I fear is that companies, governments asking to take this surveillance yet a step further, yeah, or beyond, which is inside our bodies, controlling biological rhythms. And this is very, very dangerous. And we are not yet ready as a society to understand the implications that this will have. And again, I mean, the shock doctrine is being implied here again, right? I mean, this is the book by Naomi Klein that she published, I don't know, 98, 2008, I don't remember. We said that every time there is like a huge crisis, like a lot of drastic measures are being implemented without having time for democratic consensus, right? And then we're just going to wake up one day and this is going to be the new normal. It's actually happening, all this being implemented, and it's being legislated under the table, because the alarm or because the situation requires it, according to politicians. So yeah, I think we're gonna just see all this biosurveillance increasing more and more and becoming like a new standard. I hope that answers the question.
It surely does.
Yeah.
We have solved it.
So I guess that we could like wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Joana, again for the screen work.
Thank you. It was intense.
No, I think it was really super interesting to see this kind of hidden side, hidden in plain sight, right? Like this is also something that I still get really surprised about, the fact that all of these things is so accessible yet very invisible for all of us. Mm-hmm. And I also wanted to, I'd like to think of this as, we're getting out with so much knowledge and a little bit more worries, but we also have the tools to start our own social media platform with a bunch of stolen users if we want to, right? So on the upside, I also want to leave it on a, on a positive note. It's also a bit of a workshop on how to...
let's start a revolution with some fake profiles,
Right. And also you showed us like how you could turn this into a way to visualize these issues and all of these hidden aspects of these images, of these network images in dating sites, which I think was really great.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot, and thanks everyone. John.
Yeah, just remember that the next screen walk will be in 2 weeks from now with the Dazzle Club, and we invite you all to come back again on the 3rd of June. This will be a nice one, and we will be hopefully announcing more screen walks soon.